The morning I found a 70-foot cell tower sprouting from my alfalfa field like some sort of alien monolith, I wasn't angry. Not at first. I was confused, a little amused, and deeply concerned about my cows. They stood around it in a perfect circle, like it was their new god, blinking at the pulsing red light at the top like it was some kind of divine beacon. I was barefoot, still in pajama pants, holding my coffee like a shield against insanity. The kicker? I hadn't signed a single permit. Not a lease. Not a phone call. Not even a carrier pigeon with a post-it. The tower had just appeared overnight, like some cursed graffiti from a particularly well-funded prankster. As I walked toward the crew anchoring steel cables into my soil, one of the workers cheerfully waved. "You must be from the HOA. Great spot you picked." My only response was a long, slow blink and a quiet, internal, "Oh, hell no." Rewind 48 hours. My life was painfully ordinary. I lived just outside the suburban haze in a sleepy HOA-governed neighborhood, the kind that prized beige paint, mandatory grass heights, and vigilant neighborhood snitching. My land sat on the border. 10 inherited acres of farmland I kept up more out of love for my grandfather than any desire to till soil. I maintained the field, grew a little alfalfa, and basked in the silence. No leaf blower wars every Saturday. The HOA ignored me, and I ignored their wine and cheese costume dramas. That is, until Lorraine Cartwright became president. Imagine someone who thinks Martha Stewart is too edgy and Kim Jong-un not strict enough. Lorraine once handed out parking citations written on cocktail napkins during a cookout. She hated my wooden fence, said it clashed with the neighborhood aesthetic, even though my land wasn't under their jurisdiction. I smiled, nodded, then painted it lime green for a week just to make a point. We had history. But even Lorraine wouldn't be bold enough to authorize a cell tower on land she didn't own, right? Apparently, she would. When I finally made it past the amiably oblivious crew to the on-site supervisor, he handed me a crumpled one-page agreement. It was labeled Community Access Agreement. My address was on it, sure. But the landowner? Listed as HOA President L. Cartwright. My name wasn't anywhere. The signature looked like it had been scrawled by a drunk raccoon with a Sharpie. "Where did you get this?" I asked. "From your HOA," he replied, now looking like he regretted everything. "We were told this was part of the Greenbelt." "This is private farmland," I said slowly, each syllable hitting like a nail. "It's mine. Look, man, we're just doing the install. The permits were filed. We were told it's all legit." "Permits under whose name?" He hesitated. "HOA." That's when the slow, simmering rage began. I wasn't a yeller. I didn't throw punches. I filed paperwork. I used to write commercial lease contracts for corporate real estate clients. I knew this game, and I knew this was fraud. "Stop the work," I said. They hesitated. "Or I park my tractor in front of your supply truck." They paused construction. 2 hours later, I was in my office pulling out the original land deed my grandfather had filed. Crystal clear boundaries, parcel numbers, county stamps. The HOA border ended 5 feet past my mailbox. This was war. I drove to the HOA clubhouse, arriving just in time to catch Lorraine mid-speech, gushing about how the new tower would bring 5G harmony to the neighborhood. I waited, then walked straight up to her. "What the hell is this?" I asked, showing her the forged lease. She smiled. "Isn't it marvelous? It'll raise property values." "On my property." She patted my shoulder. "It's all part of the community, Nick. You weren't using that field for anything important. And it's only a 10-year lease. You leased land you don't own." She gave a smug shrug. "Technically, it's part of the Greenbelt. No one ever really uses it. I hope you like lawsuits." "Excuse me." "Because you're about to be the star defendant in one." That night, I sent everything to my old law school buddy, now a real estate litigator. His response: "They're screwed. Play dumb. Let them dig deeper. Then hit them." So I did. While Lorraine published newsletter articles like Raising the Bar on Bars and hosted Wi-Fi-themed mixers, I was building my case. What no one knew was that the telecom company had paid $200,000 upfront to the HOA for a 10-year lease. That money wasn't coming to me. Yet, I stood in my field the next morning with a measuring wheel in one hand and coffee in the other, grinning like a wolf. I had the deed. Original surveys. GPS-coordinated maps. Everything. A visit to the county assessor confirmed it. The tower sat dead center in my parcel. Next stop, The telecom company's regional office. I met with their lease coordinator, Trey. I laid out my binder. He skimmed, clicked around on his tablet, then turned pale. "We signed with the HOA," he stammered. "They don't own this land. The lease is void. You're trespassing. I could sue. Please don't. Then renegotiate. My rates are higher." That afternoon, he called back. Their legal team wanted to meet. Meanwhile, Lorraine was throwing a 5G celebration mixer with cupcakes shaped like towers and an ice sculpture of a signal bar. I dropped by, strictly for fun. "Funny thing about that revenue," I said. Her smile twitched. "Oh, hi, Nick. Yeah, that field. It's bringing in high-frequency radiation and high-stakes legal opportunities." She paled. "You signed a lease on property you don't own. That's fraud." Residents around us began whispering. I left her mid-sip, frozen. Days later, I received a new lease from the telecom company. Triple the original rate. Upfront bonus. Monthly rent. Annual escalations. I signed. The money hit my account. I used it to upgrade everything. Fencing, tractor, irrigation. I also filed a notice of correction with the county and installed a sign, "Private property. Tower operated with permission of actual owner." Underlined. Then, I leaked the new terms. Residents erupted. They wanted to know where the original money went, why there had been no vote. The HOA board fractured. Emergency meetings were called. I watched it all unfold with a cold drink and binoculars. The HOA panicked. The board held a town hall. Lorraine gave a speech that sounded like a TED Talk delivered by a malfunctioning AI. She was grilled. People demanded audits. Asked about forged leases. Asked if the HOA claimed land it didn't own. Eventually, Lorraine resigned. And just like that, the queen of pastel tyranny was dethroned. But it didn't end there. She filed a lawsuit against me, citing easement breach and emotional distress. My lawyer nearly choked laughing. We countersued. Trespassing. Fraud. Unauthorized lease negotiation. The court hearing was theater. Lorraine representing herself, quoting spiritual burden of low reception, waving aerial photos like maps to buried treasure. The judge dismissed her case within half an hour. Residents voted to slash HOA fees, overhaul leadership, and install transparency systems. Some thanked me in person. One brought a pie. Another left wine with a post-it. "Best revenge is residual income." One Saturday, I hosted the Towers and Triumph barbecue. People showed up, laughed, ate, celebrated. It felt real, not an HOA-mandated gathering, but a community coming alive. And as we stood by the field, someone said, "You should charge rent for this view." I grinned. The telecom company had already asked about a second unit. That sparked something. What if I helped others? People battling overreach, unclear laws, power-tripping boards? I started a small consulting service, Boundary Line Solutions. Motto: know what's yours. Keep it yours. I partnered with attorneys, offered guidance, and within weeks had a wait list. My story had gone viral on Reddit. People were tired of being bullied by organizations built to serve them. Then came a final envelope. No return address. Inside, a single note in looping cursive. "Congratulations on your tower, Nick. I hope it brings you everything you wanted. P.S. I moved to Fairwinds Acres. New HOA. New start. No name, but I didn't need one." Lorraine had found a new castle. I sat on my porch that night, drink in hand, watching the tower blink red against the sky. A rhythmic, quiet reminder. Sometimes justice isn't loud. It's patient. It's persistent. And sometimes it pays rent on time. Long live the signal.